What's up, guys? It's Brian here from Full Body Athletics, and hopefully you guys are enjoying your beautiful day. Today, we're the 17th of January, 2023, and we got a great episode for you guys. But before this episode begins, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's important for me, guys. It's also important for you guys because the more likes I get and the more follows I get, well, it helps me to continue this beautiful project that is Full Body Athletics, and most importantly, upgrade mentality. So today's episode, we're going to talk about a sensitive subject for some of you, is meal prepping. Now, I know meal prepping sounds like something that is super boring, but when done efficiently and well, it can become very easy. So today I'm going to talk about the 3 reasons why you should meal prep and the simple principles of nutrition. What is a carb? What is a fat? And what is a protein? So I wanted to first begin with this episode by talking about a workshop we had not long ago. We had a workshop here at Full Body Athletics, and we're about 10 people. It wasn't a big workshop. A lot of people were busy because it was right before the holidays. But anywho, it was a great workshop where we spoke about the principles of nutrition. And today we have a full resume of that workshop. So if you guys want a copy of the full resume and PDF, okay, you can just send me a email, fullbodyathletics@gmail.com, and I'm going to send you a free copy of our meal prepping guide. Okay, so it's the FBA meal prepping guide. You get the principles of nutrition. You understand how to meal prep, how to do it efficiently and well under 1 hour and 30 minutes. All right. So, first and foremost, so the 3 reasons why you should meal prep is very simple. In other words, what we want to see here is first and foremost, why meal prep? So that's the general question. Why meal prep? Well, meal prepping isn't always easy and it isn't always fun. However, me and myself as a trainer and a naturopath, I can tell you there's a great correlation between fitness and meal prepping for these 3 specific reasons. Number 1, let's get into it. People who meal prep tend to eat better overall. Okay, so I've seen it in my experience as a trainer. Every time somebody meal preps, so I know they meal prep, they tend to be more conscious of what they eat. Right? They know the difference between a carb, they know the difference between a protein, they know the difference between a fat, to understand why they're putting this amount of food, okay? There's a great correlation between people that meal prep and they eat well because they're more surrounded with their food. They're actually making their food, right? So when you make your food, you connect with that food because making food is creation. So when you get in that synergy of making food, well, you're going to be in better connection with nutrition in general. So you're going to want to know the difference between an apple, for example, an orange. You know, what are the differences? What are the different tastes? You know, some tastes in cuisine, we know that they're acquired, right? Through time, you acquire them. So that is the first thing that I've seen in my experience as a trainer and naturopath. People that tend to meal prep tend to eat better overall. Even when they go out, they tend to make healthier choices because they know what's a good choice versus a bad choice. They have more of a type of memory about this, you know, because they're always involved with their food, they're always making their food, they're always making snacks. So the more connection to food, therefore, they make healthier choices on the daily. Don't forget, guys, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. So that's number 1. People who meal prep tend to eat better overall. Okay. Number 2, and this is a no-brainer, I've seen it in my experience, people that meal prep more often than not get results really quickly. Like I said many a times, abs are made in the kitchen. I once had a client that told me, oh, you know, I'm not losing weight, you know, and I don't know why. And she was training 3 or 4 times a week, mind you. And I was telling her, you know, are you meal prepping? And she's like, no, you know, I just eat on the go, you know, blah, 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 blah. So I was like, okay, so you're eating on the go. And when you eat on the go, more often than not, do you make mistakes? And she's like, yeah, I do. You know, sometimes I make bad choices. And I said, why? She goes, oh, I'm hungry. You're hungry because you're not eating the proper nutrition, okay? People that meal prep, more often than not, they get results quick for that exact reason. They know what they're eating every day. They know how many calories about they're eating. So it can be more controlled. Okay. Not only that, if you're training and you're eating towards a goal of sustaining your training, whatever it is, weight loss or just gaining muscle mass or whatnot, you're always going to eat better. So people that often train hard, and if they add that element of nutrition or meal prepping in this case, they'll get results really, really quickly. Okay. I've seen clients, in my experience as a trainer, it's been already almost 10 years I've been a trainer. In my experience, I've seen when that people that train consistently, when they add that meal prepping, the results are phenomenal. And not only the results are phenomenal, the results are really, really quick. Okay? So that's number dos. Number tres is they stay consistent at the gym. Okay? For all my years of training people, I have noticed myself that those who meal prep and monitor foods generally stay consistent at the gym throughout even the hardest of moments. Okay? People that meal prepping is an essential part of fitness. Right? When you meal prep your food, I'm not saying waste 3 hours, because if you download this book and if you just send me your email and I'll send you the book, you'll learn how to meal prep under 90 minutes for the whole week. So I've noticed that people that meal prep stay really consistent at the gym. They're regular at the gym. They never have days off, because even when they do have days off, their consistency in their nutrition is so on point that they don't gain weight or they don't lose weight. They stay at about the same level. And we know training is important, but rest is also important. So these people, often than not, even when they're not so consistent at the gym for at least like a month or so, obviously I can't surpass a month, but a month or two, generally they'll still stay in shape. And the reason for that is because they're meal prepping. And often than that, it's the greatest motivation. When you eat well, you want to train well. Like if you're eating sweet potato, chicken breast, broccoli, with a little bit of olive oil, maybe some avocado in there, well, you're going to have a lot of energy. And that energy, you're going to want to waste it at the gym, right? When you eat good, you do good. When you eat good, you feel good. And when you feel good, you want to, you want to exert that beautiful energy. So number 3, it's stay consistent at the gym. Okay? Hopefully you guys enjoy this segment. So like I said, review here. Number 1, people who meal prep tend to eat better overall. Okay? Number 2, they get results really quick. And number 3, they stay consistent at the gym. Okay, so those are the 3 reasons why you should meal prep today. So now I want to talk about the simple principles of nutrition. Okay, what is the difference between a protein, a carb, or a fat? Okay, so what we call this is macros. Okay, so macronutrients. So when we talk about macronutrients, we talk about, obviously, like I just mentioned, protein, carbohydrates, and fats. Micronutrients is when we're talking about vitamins and minerals. All right, so what is the difference between the 3 main macronutrient blocks? So let's start with the first one, and the most important one, I would say, in my opinion, is protein. So protein are the building blocks of our muscles. Okay, protein helps rebuild and repair muscle tissue after the workout. Okay, in general, what happens is that when you eat protein has an essential 13 amino acids in every gram, which happens to really help with recuperation. So it's great for post-workout. It's great for life in general, because your whole body is made of amino acids. So if you're eating protein, you're eating a lot of amino acids, complete amino acids, okay? And I'm sorry, I'm talking about in this case in animal protein, not in vegetable protein, because there's not many vegetable proteins that are complete. You can combine them and find a complete amino acid profile, but I'm talking in this case of animal protein. Just a little parenthesis, okay? So for every gram of protein, you have a total of 4 calories. Another thing I want to mention about protein, which is super essential for weight loss, it also helps with metabolism, okay? So when we eat protein, we tend to burn off more fat, and the reason for that is that protein is really well accessed by our body. It keeps us stay full for longer periods, so we don't have to eat as much. And if you're eating very high quality of protein, you don't need very much to feel full. Okay, so that is protein. Okay, so protein: salmon, eggs, beef, chicken, poultry, deer. Anything that flies, swims, or runs, you can kill. Except for human being. Not a human being, okay? Number 2, carbohydrates. Okay, so carbohydrate. What are carbohydrates? So there's a whole spectrum of carbohydrates, but in general, carbohydrates are whole grains like rice, like quinoa, right? Vegetables and fruits are all considered also carbohydrates. So all vegetables, all fruits. And carbohydrates are very important for vitality, but also the energy to guide our day. So protein is very important because it's like a building block. It's like the base, okay? But carbohydrates are also very important for energy storage. So in your muscles, we have something we call muscle glycogen. So when you eat carbohydrates, that gets stored up in your muscle glycogen. So to be used at any moment, it's a source of energy. Okay, 1 gram of carbohydrates is 4 calories. Interesting here, right? 1 gram of carbohydrates is 4 calories. 1 gram of protein is 4 calories. Now, let's go for the next macronutrient group here and the last, fats and lipids. So fats and lipids are essential for a healthy living, seeing that they provide us with hormonal balance. So we know that by eating fats, it balances our hormones, okay? Helps with also energy, okay? Also helps with, depending if it's good fat or bad fat, obviously, helps with lowering inflammation. And so they provide us with hormonal balance, energy, and helps us with cell membrane integrity. So that means that if you're eating good qualities of fat, it's going to keep your cell membrane at its course level healthy. Okay, 1 gram of fat is 9 calories, so it's almost the double. Okay, guys, so be very careful about fats. Fats are very good, but if you're eating high excessive fats, it has many calories, so be careful. Okay, now what is the difference in carbohydrates? So we spoke about carbohydrates before, right? What is the difference in carbohydrates? So you have 2 different groups of carbohydrates. One is called simple carbohydrates, and the second one is called complex carbohydrates. So what's the difference? Simple carbohydrates are easy for your body to break down for energy or glucose. They have 1 or 2 sugar molecules and are found in items that are usually sweet, such as honey, table sugar, syrup, agave nectar, molasses, milk, yogurt, and fruit. Fruit does contain a natural sugar called fructose. However, fruit also has vitamins and minerals. These are your micronutrients, nutrients needed in small amounts, phytochemicals, a needed nutrient, but also have a positive effects on health and fiber. So simple carbohydrates, okay, can be anything, like I said, from sugar to honey, but also could be it can be also just simple fruits. However, fruits is fructose, so it's a bit different how your body processes a lot better. But in anywho, if you're eating things like honey, maple syrup, obviously natural maple syrup, or simple carbohydrates like fruits, it's pretty good. All the rest, refined sugar, stay away. Okay. Complex carbohydrates. So these are like the healthy carbohydrates. Are harder for our body to process and usually contain more fiber. They are long strands of sugar molecules strung together and typically have a savory taste. They are found in foods such as starches and grains, rice, pasta, bread, and starchy vegetables, potatoes, peas, corn. Other plant-based foods such as non-starchy vegetables, beans, nuts, and seeds contain carbohydrates but in lower amounts. Complex carbs normally contain fiber unless they have been processed, where the grain has been stripped of its bran, which gives us white bread, white pasta, or white rice. So this, in other words, is complex. It's carbs at its most essential level. Okay, so in this group, this separate group, the carbs are generally digested slowly. Okay, so it takes our body more time to process. Therefore, our body has more time to get accustomed to the sugar rush. Okay, and also seeing that there is fiber, the fiber that helps slow down the process of digestion. So the energy is stored differently. When a simple carbohydrate, when you drink, like for example, fruit juice, it comes straight into your system. So you feel the jolt right away. If you take an example, if you wake up in the middle of the night and you drink a glass of orange juice, you're going to feel an immense rush of energy because there's simple carbohydrates. However, if you wake up at night and let's say you grab a piece of sweet potato and eat it right away, you're not going to necessarily feel the energy right away, but you're going to feel the energy maybe 2-3 hours later. So Stay away, or in moderate degree, simple carbohydrates. Fruits is fine, honey is fine, maple syrup is fine, but everything else, agave too is fine. Everything else, stay away. Complex carbohydrates is what you need. So things like sweet potato, yams, whole grain pasta, whole grain bread. Now, the difference in protein. So we spoke about protein before being another macronutrient. So you have two very simple groups of protein. First is animal protein, coming from animal flesh. Animal protein is high in protein and is packed with essential nutrients like iron, zinc, B vitamins, and a complete amino acid profile, like I mentioned before. Now, I know there's a big stigma against meat, guys. I know this. I hear about it all the time. Clients get misinformed. Right now, actually, recently, they just came out with a top 100 food list of things to eat. And I think sugary cereal was on top of steak, which is complete nonsense. And the reason for that is because meat, eaten in general in controlled amounts, okay, especially pasteurized or organic meats, are super, I would say it's probably the most important thing for a human being to eat, because it is packed with vitamins and minerals and are super absorbable. So your body absorbs it super, super, super well. Okay. And I'm not saying this as a person that's trying to sell you meat, because I understand people that don't want to eat meat because of the cruelty or because of the environment issues. But I will tell you that normally, if in farmers where it's farm raised and where it's pasteurized and the animals are eating greens or vegetables, okay, or plants, they generally live in good conditions. And certain farms, the way they process them is that they try to re-put them in the kind of equilibrium of, I don't know how you call this, but yeah. So animal protein is super essential for you, especially if you're training, especially if you want energy, okay? It is packed with super absorbable B vitamins, zinc, iron, and all of other minerals and amino acids. So animal protein is one. The second one is plant proteins. So plant proteins, vegetable proteins or plant proteins come in all shapes and forms like tempeh, tofu, wheat protein, but also beans, legumes, and lentils. While they may be perceived as equally healthy, transformed plant proteins can be seen as hazardous for our health, considering their incomplete amino acid inflammatory properties. So obviously, I don't want to generalize here. Okay, there are some beans, and don't get me wrong, beans and lentils and wheat proteins, tofu and tempeh are also good for your health and eaten in, like I mentioned before, in equal amounts to animal protein. However, if you base your whole diet on plant proteins, I would say that if you're training, you will start to feel a tad deficient. The reason for that is because you have to eat the triple. Okay, so a lot of vegans and vegetarians, and I was also a vegan for myself for 6 months, so I can tell you that being a vegan, in order to help me, aid me in my fitness journey or in my trainings, I had to eat double or triple the amounts of food that I would eat, because I wasn't eating as much animal protein at that time, right? Of saying that I was vegan. So it was obviously very different, but nonetheless, very good experience. And also, it's very doable if you want to be in a plant protein-based diet. I would tell you just supplement with B vitamins, iron, zinc, and maybe a good multivitamin, something like that. But it's very doable, and there are good sides to it. I saw good positive sides where I don't have much acne, but I would say my eczema, my acne kind of disappeared, or my skin looked really good for a while. There's all kinds of benefits. So obviously to try, but if you don't have any problems eating protein, try to balance it out with healthy protein. Like I said, pasteurized or grass-fed protein is what to eat, and you'll have a perfect balanced diet while trying to help the world. Last but not least, fats. So fats, in today's podcast, I want to talk about the 3 different fats subgroups. So you have the first subgroup, trans fats. So these are the fats that you want to avoid. at all costs and should be cut off of your diet. Most trans fats come from hydrogenating or adding hydrogen molecules to unsaturated fat. This process is a hydrogenated oil. These can be found in margarine, shortening, baked goods, doughs, and fried foods. So obviously, guys, to avoid at all costs, it's very unhealthy for our well-being. So I would say to you to remove yourself from the trans fats. Okay, and nowadays, actually, especially here in Canada, we can see that the most companies try to avoid using any trans fat. I even think there's a law. The second subgroup, saturated fat. So saturated fat is found mostly in animal sources like with high fat content such as fatty beef, lamb, pork, poultry, with skin, lard, cream, butter, full fat cheese, and dairy. In large amounts, saturated fat is known to increase cholesterol levels and can increase your risk of heart disease. So like I mentioned before, in high amounts, saturated fat can be nocive for you. So be careful, okay? And like I mentioned before, if you're eating pasture-raised or grass-fed beef, it makes a huge difference on the meat. The reason for that is because the meat has omega-3, so it's going to come balance the different hormones, okay, different fat levels. Okay, so saturated fat in high amounts could be dangerous. If you want to lower your chance of maybe heart disease or maybe trying to just eat the best quality, go for grass-fed. And number 3, unsaturated fats. Unsaturated fats are known as the healthy fat as they can decrease your risk of heart disease. These healthy fats originate from plant sources such as avocados, nuts, nut butters, seeds, olives, and oils. They can also be found in animal sources such as fatty fish, including salmon, mackerel, sardines, tuna, and herring. So this, in other words, is omega-3s and omega-6s, a bit of omega-6s, more of omega-3s. So this is your healthy oils, okay? So when we think about unsaturated fat, we talk about olive oils, coconut oil, salmon oil, obviously, mackerel, sardines, omega. It's all these fats have one thing in common, and they all have omega-3. Okay, omega-3, which is an essential fatty acid that is super important for hormone balance, but also inflammation. So if you're having inflammation with your joints, it may be because of your diet. Therefore, I would suggest a good omega-3 for yourself. Okay, so those are the differences between the 3 macronutrients groups. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed today's podcast. The reason why I wanted to speak today about this because it's an issue that affects a lot of my clients. A lot of them have a really hard time knowing the difference between a carb, a fat, a protein. Most people know the difference, but some of them don't know the subgroups, right? What is the difference between an unsaturated, saturated fat? So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's podcast. Please start meal prepping. If you send me an email, I will send you the free guide. I'll teach you how to meal prep under 90 minutes for the total week. Do it on a Sunday while watching TV. You meal prep 90 minutes and you're done for your whole week. You have your lunch, supper, and 2 snacks. I fast. That's the way I do it, but you can also do breakfast. Okay, guys? So now you also know the difference between the principles of nutrition, what is a carb, what is a fat, and what is a protein. So thank you so much for being here with me. Please, guys, if you haven't followed full Upgrade Mentality, please like us. You can find us, obviously, on Spotify, iTunes. Please like and follow our podcast. It would really help us bring out more content and keep pushing this beautiful thing that is fitness. Also, if you don't follow me on Instagram, you can follow me fullbody_athletics. There where I give all the trainings or the nutrition advice and everything in between, from fitness to spirituality to motivation. Also, you can send me an email at fullbodyathletics@gmail.com, obviously, to get this free guide that I'm talking to you about you guys today, or just to ask me any question you have. Thank you so much, guys. Enjoy your beautiful day. It's Brian here at Full Body Athletics, but most importantly, Upgrade Mentality. Episode 11 is done. Be good. Ciao. 1, 2